freight train, rolling so fast. Freight train, rolling so fast. Oh, please don't tell which route I'm on, so they won't know where I've gone. There's one more place that I'd like to be. There's one more thing I'd sure like to see. I'd like to see those Blue Ridge Mountains climb from the engine of old number 9. When I'm dead and in my grave, no more good times will I crave. Just place a stone at my head and feet. Tell 'em I have gone to sleep. Nighty-night, K-Ball. When I die, won't you bury me deep down at the end of Chestnut Street, so I can see old number 9 as she goes highballing by. Let's have one more, boys.
Thank you so much. That song was called Freight Train, and it was written by Elizabeth Cotten. And it was an example of Piedmont Blues style of guitar playing, which is what we're going to be talking about today, Piedmont Blues. And Elizabeth Cotten was born near Chapel Hill in the 1890s, and she wrote that song, Freight Train, when she was 11 years old. Now, she never recorded, though, until the late 1950s. And when she was recorded by a then teenaged guy named Mike Seeger, who was a friend of Ron's, actually. And this is Ron Shuffler on the bass over here. We borrowed him from Burke County. The Piedmont Blues style developed in the early 1900s on the East Coast, from around Richmond, Virginia, down through North Carolina and South Carolina's Piedmont, down past Atlanta, Georgia. And it was a guitar style that was used playing with one finger or two fingers, playing the melody on the top strings, and the thumb rocking back and forth playing the bass part on the low strings. And for that reason, it's also referred to as thumb style or finger style guitar, and I'm going to be using all those terms, so we're all talking about the same thing here. And it is similar to what ragtime piano players do when they play the bass with their left hand and then play the melody with their right hand. The earliest players of Piedmont Blues were African American men, and many of them went by colorful nicknames like Barbecue Bill, or Barbecue Bob, or
That was his brother.
right. I like Scrapper Blackwell, or Blind Boy Fuller, who grew up in Rockingham, North Carolina, and who wrote the next song. And that song is called Step It Up and Go. And this is Patrick Crouch here on guitar.
I had two friends who in the past 3 years have passed away. They were Caldwell County guitar players. And one was a blues man named Pop Ferguson, and Pop played Piedmont Blues as well as a lot of Delta blues. And then I had another friend named Carolina Ray Wisnut, who was a student of all kinds of American popular music. And Carolina mainly country and bluegrass man, and Pop mainly a Delta blues and Piedmont blues man. And they both lived to be in their mid to late 80s, and they both told me that the reason they played guitar was because of this song right here. And I thought that was really cool. 2, 3, 4. Well, got a little gal, she's a little low. She used to love me, but she don't know more. Gotta step it up and go. Yeah, go. Well, you can't step past the Lord, you gotta step it up and go. Well, I got a little gal, she lives upstairs. She makes her living putting on airs. Gotta step it up and go. Yeah, go. Well, you can't stand pat, but Lord, you gotta step it up and go. Shut the back door too. What in the world's a man supposed to do? Well, step it up and go. Yeah, go. Well, you can't stand bad, Lord, you gotta step it up and go. Go, Ron. Named Denise Ball, gave her some loving and she took it all. Gotta step it up and go. Yeah, go. Well, you can't stand pat, Lord, you gotta step it up and go. Me and my baby walking down the street, we told everybody but the police on the police, you gotta step it up and go. That's the chief of police to UK, Bob. Step it up and go. Well, you can't stand by the Lord, you gotta step it up and go. One more time down to Gunpowder Creek.
Now, Piedmont Blues is different from the Delta Blues that we mentioned. In the Delta Blues developed a little earlier in the late 1800s in the Mississippi River Delta region from Memphis, Tennessee down through Arkansas and Louisiana and Mississippi. The Delta Blues was initially played by men using whatever instrument they had available, hence things like the washboard and with sewing thimbles that I just played. Whatever was available is their instrument, but eventually the guitar sort of became the instrument of choice. The Delta Blues is not as intricate a style as the Piedmont Blues is, and it's often played with a bottleneck that was slipped on a finger and slid up the string, so they called it a slide guitar. It often used this form called the 12-bar blues form. It was improvised, it was just made up on the spot, and it involved 2 lines of text that rhyme. And the first line is repeated before the second rhyming line is sung. And the reason they did that is because since they were making this up on the spot, they needed to kind of allow themselves enough time to figure out something else that made sense with the first line and that also rhymed. And it involves I should say that the singer pauses at the end of each line, and often there is a guitar fill, or the guitar, you'll hear the guitar play, and it's a conversation between the singer and the guitar, or the instrument that's being played. This is all done over 3 simple chords, over 12 bars, or what musicians call measures. And all that is you, in this instance, you count to 4 12 times and you have 12 bars. And although we think of blues as being sad, you can also have happy blues, like Step It Up and Go.
That's happy.
Happy. And all it does is really simply express the feelings of the singer at the time. The next song is called the Statesboro Blues, and it uses this 12-bar blues form, so you can listen to the 3 chord changes and then also the rhyming lines. And it was written by Blind Willie McTell from Thompson, Georgia, who was often seen playing on the streets of Atlanta, but he called Statesboro my real home. McTell was unusual because he used the 12-string guitar, which we have here, 12 strings as opposed to 6. And that's an ornery son of a gun to play, I'll tell you.
I know she's talking about me.
Well, he is. He is too. And sometimes Blind Willie also used the slide, which is very unusual in Piedmont Blues. If this song sounds familiar at all, it could be because it was covered by the Allman Brothers Band on a very important album from 1968. So this is called the Statesboro Blues.
Turn your lamp down low. Say now, wake up, mama. Turn your lamp down low. I can't believe you got the nerve to try and drive old Papa McTell from your door. Reckless, but Papa died and left me wild. Well, my mama died and left me reckless now. Papa died and left me wild. I ain't too good looking, K-Bob, but I guarantee you, I'm somebody's little angel child. I once loved a woman, she was the meanest woman I ever seen.
Don't be talking about me like that.
I said, now why, old woman, why did you want to treat me that way? You know, when I get out my traveling shoes, I'll be going all the way to Roadhouse to stay. I'll leave you alone, baby. Here's Rondo. Loved her better than any woman I'd ever seen. You know, I once loved a woman and I had to love her better than any woman I'd ever seen. Well, she treated me like a king and I treat her like a doggone queen. Savannah, ooh, and he did not stop. Big Eddie left Savannah now, no, he did not stop. You ought to see that big fireman now when he gets that bottle hot. One more time.
Though the blues developed earlier, the first time we have recordings of bluesmen or blues started in 1920. And that was actually Mamie Smith's recording of the Crazy Blues, where we have a female singer accompanied by a jazz band. And between 1920 and 1926, all of the blues recordings were that format. They copied it because it was very successful in 1920. So between 1920 and 26, all blues recordings were by female singers recording with a jazz band in the background. It wasn't until finally in 1926 that we end up having a man accompanying himself on the guitar that was recorded. Now, Etta Baker was born around this time, born in 1923, right here in Lenoir, in an area community called Doolatown. But she spent many, many years in Morganton, and for that reason, both Caldwell County and Burke County claim her. All you Burke County people. Yeah. Yeah. And they even have a bronze statue of her in front of CAMA, the City of Morganton Municipal Auditorium. But she spent her life in this area. She worked in furniture, including Bernhard Industries, and she worked in textiles at Skyland Textile Company. And she's one of the most honored of the Piedmont Blues style of guitarists. But her professional career didn't really start until her mid-70s. Not the mid-70s, but her mid-70s. Think about that. One of her signature songs was called the Railroad Bill, and he was a real person who caused railroad detectives, he kept them really busy in the 1890s in Alabama and Florida. He was looked at as being a Robin Hood kind of character, or sometimes just a thief and a murderer, depending on what you thought about him. Anyway, there was many manhunts that resulted in headlines like, "The wrong man shot," because the railroad detectives were so eager to catch Railroad Bill that if they suspected a guy of being him, they'd just shoot him and figure it out later, and most often it was wrong, until they finally did shoot a guy that they think was the real Railroad Bill. But that's the title song of Etta Baker's 1991 album, so we'll have Patrick play the Railroad Blues. Or, sorry, Railroad Bill.
It's all right. I know them both. Now Railroad Bill, he never worked and he never will. He'll ride. Railroad Bill, he's a very bad man. Oh, he shot the light from the brakeman's hand, and then he'd ride. Railroad Bill, he's sitting up on a hill. He lights his cigar with a $10 bill, and he'll ride, ride, ride. Railroad Bill, oh, he took my wife. He said if I didn't like it, he'd just take my life. I said, okay, Bill, go ahead and ride, brother. Carry on. He went on the mountain, then he went on out west. He had a 38 special stuck down in his vest so he could ride, ride, ride. Well, he bought him a pistol just as long as his arm. You know, he shot anybody ever tried to do him harm. He's a bad man. Here's Etta's lick, I hope, Bebo. I'm gonna try it. Oh, he killed Macmillan by the light of the moon. He's a bad man, Railroad Bill. Now Railroad Bill got gunned down by the law. When they came for him, oh, he never saw it was an ambush. Poor old Railroad Bill. One more time, here we go. Favorite of all the tunes we played today, Railroad Bill. I like songs about real people.
I should say that we have two guys sitting in the audience who took many lessons from Etta Baker. Too bad they don't play longer.
I'm nervous as three cats up a tree here in front of all these mighty guitar players. Appreciate y'all being here.
Most of you have probably heard of a guy named Doc Watson. Doc Watson was a guitar player born in Deep Gap, right outside of Boone. And there's a bronze statue of him near the Mask store on King Street in Boone. But he also used to play in the streets of Lenoir back before he was famous. And if you go up to the town square of Lenoir, near where the clock tower is, you can see an historical marker and an early photo of him that was taken in the Hogwaller section behind the town square. He also got his nickname Doc while he was playing on a live radio show in Lenoir. Doc Watson eventually went on to win 7 Grammy Awards and also a Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award. And Doc played not only the Piedmont Blues style of guitar, but also played with a flat pick, which is what I'm using. And because of the flat pick, he influenced many, many bluegrass guitar players for decades. And although he didn't play bluegrass exclusively, he played many different styles. The next song, the Deep River Blues, is based on a 1930s recording of the Big River Blues by the Delmore Brothers, but they probably adapted it from a traditional song.
Let it rain, let it pour, let it rain a whole lot more, boys. I got them Deep River Blues. Let it rain, drive right on, let the waves sort of sweep along, boys. I got them Deep River Blues. Well, my old gal's a good old pal, but she walks like a waterfowl when I get them deep river blues. Ain't no one to cry for me, and all the fish go out on a big old spree when I get them deep river blues. Mom, give me back my old boat. I'm gonna sail this ship float, 'cause I got them deep river blues. Hey, I'm going back to Muscle Shoals. They got some fancy guitar licks, K-Bob, I'm told. I get them deep river blues. Yeah. My boat sinks with me, I'll go down, don't you see, when I get there deep river blues. So now it's time to say goodbye. If I sink, let me die. Now I got them deep river blues. One more time.
Doc Watson had a son named Merle, and Merle Watson was named after one of the legendary thumb-style guitarists called Merle Travis, whom Doc really admired greatly and emulated. Doc's first album was recorded in 1964, and he recorded it with Merle, who was only 15 years old at the time. And they played together until Merle's death in 1985 of a tractor accident, and that happened just north of Lenoir on the Waterfall Road, and he was 36 years old at the time. Now, Merle Fest is named after him, and it's the biggest music festival east of the Mississippi River, and more than 80,000 people will gather over 4 days at the last weekend of April.
Who named it?
And you can hear all sorts. I named it. You can hear all sorts of music. It's people tend to call it a bluegrass festival because there are a lot of bluegrass festivals, but it's all different kinds of music on 13 stages. And that happens, like I said, the last weekend in April every year on the campus of Wilkes Community College in Wilkesboro. Now, because Doc played with a flat pick, Merle tended to concentrate on playing thumb style guitar, or finger style, or Piedmont Blues style, or whatever. And one of the songs that he wrote is called Southbound, and that's what Patrick's going to play next.
I'm stuck in this old city. People have to call it home. They're the ones I pity, the boys I'm homesick. blues are the only songs I ever seem to feel. I get out and walk the street till I get blisters on my feet. I'm southbound. I'm alright late at night, sitting by my window, counting sheep, but I couldn't sleep. I'm listening to that train blow. I begin to pine when I hear that big old engine rolling down the line. Hey, I'm going back and spend some time where I can have fun without a dime. I'm southbound. Southbound, she's burning the ground, and I don't mean maybe. I sure am glad I caught this train. I want to see my baby. I want to see those hills that I come from. Won't you listen to that engine rattle and roar? It's taking me back home once more. I'm southbound. My trains are going on down the track, K-Bob. Might wind up in Joyston before the day's over.
So that's one of those examples of a happy blues song. Going southbound to see my baby. What's sad about that? So as I mentioned, blues can be either happy or sad. It can also be kind of sexy. Hokum is a word that's used to describe kind of lowbrow comic blues that's often full of sexual double entendre, wordplay, and you'll hear song titles like "Banana in Your Fruit Basket," which ain't talking about fruit.
That ain't no still life.
No. And lyrics like "Press my button, give my bell a ring," and that's from the 1930s, folks. So Patrick wrote a song called "The Fried Chicken Blues." Do you have anything you want to say about the Fried Chicken Blues?
I like me some fried chicken. I learned this chord progression from Clarence H. Green over here in the Hudson Pawn Shop. And as far as I know, we're the only ones that ever use this blues progression here in Hudson, North Carolina, to make up nasty songs. Come on over here, baby. Yeah, you look like you want something to eat. I said, come on over here, mama. Yeah, you look like you might want something to eat. Let me cook you up a little fried chicken. It'll be so nice and sweet. 'Cause you got my burner blazing, baby. Grease is melting in the pan. Oh, you got my burner blazing, mama. Grease done melting in the pan. Let me cook you up a mess of fried chicken. then I know I'll be your man. I got legs and thighs, honey. I cook 'em up for your delight. I got legs and thighs, mama. Heat 'em up for your delight. Oh, you know you want some fried chicken, baby. Just come on over here and take a big old bite. Rondo likes that fried chicken. Some folks like a breast, others like that chicken wing. Yeah, some folks like a breast, others like that chicken wing. Well, when it comes to fried chicken, as you know, folks, I'd eat most anything. Sometimes I get that chicken pot pie. A little bit of extra crispy, baby. Maybe a Bojangles. Can't pass a Popeye. Oh, you know I love it, I love it, I love it. I said, hey, hey, mama, I sure like my chicken fried. I said, hey, hey, mama, I sure like my chicken fried. And I'm gonna get me a little piece of chicken, boys, if it takes me all night.